My girlfriend said, I called 911 and told them you'd hit me so you'd come home from poker night early. The police were at my door. I replied, creative. Then I showed officers my doorbell camera footage of her rehearsing her story and punching herself. When they arrested her for filing a false report and wasting emergency resources, I, 31 male, was holding a full house when my phone started vibrating across the table. 11 missed calls from her number. Poker night had ended early for me, not because I lost, but because the cops called saying my girlfriend reported I'd assaulted her. And now, standing in front of her, I felt like I'd stepped into someone else's nightmare. Melissa started crying. Those sharp, practiced sobs that sound real but aren't. You're never here. Aaron, you always choose your friends over me. I needed you home. The officers exchanged glances. One, a tall man named Officer Reed, cleared his throat. Sir, we received a domestic violence call at approximately 6:30 p.m. Your girlfriend claims you struck her during an argument. Can anyone confirm your whereabouts at that time? I pulled out my phone and opened my messages. 5 people can... I've been at my friend Luke's place since 5:45. You can check the times, Toms. My voice was shaking, but not from guilt, just pure rage and fear. Melissa's expression flickered, just for a second. Then she doubled down, voice rising. He's lying. He was drinking. He gets angry when I ask him to stay home. That's when it hit me how rehearsed she sounded. Every sentence felt too clean, too organized, like she'd practiced it in front of a mirror. My heart pounded in my chest, and a thought surfaced through the chaos. The camera, officers. I said slowly, I have a Ring doorbell camera. You might want to see what really happened. Melissa's face went white. No, wait, that's not. But I was already opening the app. I scrolled to the footage from earlier that evening, me walking out at 5:43, saying, love you. See you later, and her replying, have fun, babe. Then I skipped ahead to 6:45. The video showed Melissa stepping outside, looking down the hallway, whispering to herself, okay, he hit me. No, he pushed me first, then hit me. She slapped her own cheek. Once, twice, harder. The sound echoed through the tiny speaker. Then she checked her reflection in the glass door, adjusted her hair, and muttered, perfect. He'll come home now. When the footage ended, the silence in the room was suffocating. Officer Reed turned to her. Ma'am, is there anything you want to explain before we continue? Melissa's tears stopped instantly. Her lips trembled, but no words came out. I could almost hear her mind scrambling for a new lie, a new angle. But it was too late. Filing a false police report is a misdemeanor, the female officer said quietly. Misuse of 911 is another, and faking evidence of assault that's serious. You understand that, ma'am? I just wanted him to come home, she whispered. He's always leaving me alone. So you committed 3 crimes. The click of the handcuffs was louder than I expected. Melissa's panic exploded into a full-blown meltdown, screaming, crying, begging. She said I was ruining her life. The irony almost made me laugh. After they took her away, Officer Reed handed me his card. You'll need to give a statement tomorrow. Keep that footage safe, and get a restraining order. People who do this once usually don't stop. That night, I sat on the couch, unable to sleep. The apartment felt hollow, every object soaked in the residue of her deceit. At 1:47 a.m., my phone lit up with a message from her mother. You had my daughter arrested over a misunderstanding. Drop the charges now. I stared at the screen, then typed back, That's not how criminal charges work. And in that moment, I understood exactly what kind of family Melissa came from, people who thought consequences were negotiable. The next morning, I called a lawyer. Her name was Rachel Torres, sharp, calm, and with the kind of voice that made you believe she'd seen this kind of madness before. After watching the footage, she said, "You did everything right. But make no mistake, Erin, this is war. People like her don't apologize. They escalate." And she was right, because within 3 days, the whispers started. Melissa's best friend called from a blocked number, her voice dripping with fake sympathy. "You're really pressing charges over a mistake." She was emotional. "She rehearsed a felony accusation," I said flatly. "That's not emotion. That's premeditation." Her pause was long. "You're going to ruin her life." "No," I said. "She did that herself. I just have a camera." The line went dead. What I didn't realize then was that this wasn't the end of the nightmare, it was just the beginning. By the end of that week, Melissa's parents had posted her bail $5,000 on. She was out again. My lawyer, Rachel, didn't seem surprised. "They almost always find a way to get them out," she said. "What matters is how she behaves next." My advice: document everything. Don't speak to her directly, ever. So, I listened. I kept every text, every voicemail, every social media mention. It didn't take long before the attacks began. Melissa's sister posted vague messages online. "Some people will do anything to look like the victim." Then came another. "Imagine calling the cops on your own girlfriend just to get sympathy." She tagged my name in one. My boss saw it. My mother saw it. Even my gym trainer mentioned it offhand, with that awkward tone of someone trying not to take sides. Rachel's advice was simple: keep your head down, Erin. This kind of manipulation depends on your reaction. Don't give them one. But silence felt like surrender. When the detective Morrison, his name was, called me in for a recorded statement, I told him everything. He was a tired-looking man in his 40s, the kind of guy who'd seen too much of people's worst sides. He watched the doorbell footage again, shaking his head. "You're lucky, Mr. Wright. Without that video, you'd be sitting in a cell right now." "I know," I said quietly. She rehearsed it. Checked her reflection. "That's cold." I didn't respond. There was nothing left to say. Rachel arranged for all of Melissa's belongings to be picked up with witnesses present. "No matter what," she told me, "don't let her corner you alone. One more accusation, even if dismissed, creates a pattern that can haunt you later." When the day came, Melissa didn't arrive alone. She brought her parents, her sister, and her best friend, like a small, hostile army marching into my apartment. Her father spoke first, his voice low and condescending. "You should be ashamed of yourself, getting a woman arrested." I looked him straight in the eye. A woman who fabricated a felony and hid herself to sell it. "Potato, potato," he muttered. Her sister chimed in. "She wouldn't have done it if you hadn't made her feel neglected." Rachel's paralegal, who'd been silently watching from the corner, stepped forward. "We're here for property collection only. No discussions, please." Melissa kept her eyes on the floor. Her silence felt more dangerous than her words. She packed quickly clothes, toiletries, shoes, and then turned toward the TV. "That's mine," I said. She froze. "We bought it together. I paid for it. Check your Venmo history." Her mother sighed. "It's just a TV, Erin. Don't be petty." "Then she won't mind leaving it," I said calmly. Her father took a step toward me. "You're a small man, you know that. A real man would let himself be falsely accused and dragged through hell to protect her. I interrupted. Interesting definition. He didn't answer. None of them did. When they were nearly done, Melissa turned to me. Her voice was soft, almost fragile. I'm sorry, okay. I was stupid. I just wanted you to care. I looked at her for a long time. You wanted control, not care. She blinked hard, as if the truth stung. Her best friend broke the silence. You're really going to let her go to court over this? She's got anxiety. She needs help. I've got a Ring doorbell, I said. She needs accountability. They left. The apartment went quiet again, but it didn't feel peaceful, just empty. Later that night, I found something wedged under the couch. A small blue notebook with her handwriting. The title on the first page read Therapy Notes. Curious, I flipped through it. Each line was a strategy. Make him feel guilty about poker. Nights, bring up emotional unavailability. Suggest joint bank account for transparency. Convince him to limit time with friends. Every page was another layer of manipulation, an instruction manual for control. I photographed every word and sent the images to Rachel. Her response came within minutes. Oh, this keeps getting better. Discovery is going to be fun. 2 days later. Melissa's lawyer tried to negotiate. Reduced charges, no jail time, sealed record. Rachel declined without hesitation. Your client rehearsed a felony accusation, she said. She injured herself to frame my client and wasted police resources. Counteroffer, plead guilty to everything and we won't file civil charges for defamation. They didn't take the deal, and so the case went to trial. That's when Melissa's campaign of pity transformed into full-blown war. Her mother flooded Facebook with emotional posts about a system that destroys women over one mistake. She tagged me, my company, my family. My mum, bless her, went nuclear. She posted court documents showing Melissa's charges and wrote, "Maybe teach your daughter not to commit crimes before you blame the man who caught her on camera." Within hours, Melissa's mother deleted everything, but not before the rumors spread. At the gym, people whispered. At work, HR called me in just to check in. I explained the situation, showed them proof, but that word optics kept coming up. We believe you, Aaron. But it's best to stay low until things calm down. Funny how people say they believe you, but still treat you like you might be guilty. Then came the next blow. Melissa filed for a restraining order against me. She claimed I was harassing her family, stalking her social media, threatening her through mutual friends. Every sentence was a lie, but lies demand your time, your money, your sanity. I sat in the courtroom, listening to her cry, telling the judge she was terrified of me. Rachel stood up with a stack of documents, phone logs, social media data, witness statements, all showing I hadn't spoken to or about Melissa in weeks. The judge flipped through the papers, then looked up. Ms. Carter, you're currently facing criminal charges for filing a false police report. Now you're submitting a restraining order based on falsehoods. Do you see the pattern here? Melissa didn't answer. Her lawyer tried to speak. The judge shut him down. Petition denied. Her mother began yelling about corruption and bias. The bailiff escorted them out. Even though I won, I still lost. Because people only remember the accusation, not the dismissal. At work, whispers followed me like shadows. Some friends stopped calling. Even my landlord asked if everything was okay. But what broke me wasn't the noise, it was the exhaustion. Every new rumor, every sideways glance, every "I'm sorry you're going through that" from people who didn't actually believe me. And still, Rachel told me, stay patient. The truth always lands, eventually. I wanted to believe her. I really did. But one night, just as I started to feel safe again, my doorbell rang, and when I looked at the screen, my heart stopped. It was Melissa. She stood there in the rain, hair plastered to her face, a small duffel bag in her hand. The look on her face wasn't rage this time, which was something quieter, heavier. The camera's microphone barely caught her words, but I could make them out. Please. I just need to talk. My stomach turned. Every instinct screamed, don't open that door. I didn't. I picked up my phone instead, called the non-emergency line, and told them exactly who was at my door. When the dispatcher asked if she was threatening me, I said, not yet. But she's not supposed to be here. Within 15 minutes, a patrol car rolled up. I watched through the peephole as 2 officers approached her. One of them, the same Officer Reyes who'd arrested her weeks earlier, spoke to her softly. She nodded a few times, said something I couldn't hear, then lifted her duffel bag and walked to the car. Before she got in, she turned back toward the door and stared at the camera. The look she gave me wasn't anger. It was hollow, like she'd already given up on something only she thought still existed. That night, I couldn't sleep. My brain kept replaying her face, her voice, the way she said please. Part of me still wanted to believe she'd been the girl I once loved, the one who made me breakfast on Saturdays and sang along to bad 80s songs in the car. But that person didn't exist anymore. Maybe she never had. The next morning, Rachel called. You did the right thing, she said, before I even spoke. She violated the no-contact order. They'll note it in her case file. I sighed. She didn't threaten me. She just wanted to talk. That's what they all say before they twist it back on you, Rachel replied. She shows up, you let her in, she hurts herself again, and guess whose fingerprints are on the scene this time? She was right. And that scared me more than anything. 2 weeks later, the trial began. Melissa's defense tried to paint her as a victim of emotional abandonment, claiming she'd been mentally unstable and that her false report was a cry for attention, not malice. They even brought in a psychologist who said Melissa displayed signs of trauma from an emotionally distant partner. Rachel was surgical in her response. So, she asked the psychologist on cross-examination, you never actually met my client, correct? That's correct. You never witnessed their relationship, their conversations, or their interactions? No. But you're willing to testify that my client's supposed emotional distance caused your patient to file a false police report? The psychologist hesitated. I'm saying it contributed to her distress. Rachel smiled slightly. Distress is not a defense for defamation, fabrication, or perjury, Dr. Thank you. The jury saw through it. It took less than 2 hours for them to return a verdict. Guilty. Melissa was sentenced to 6 months in county jail and ordered to pay restitution for legal fees and damages. I should have felt relief, vindication, something. But when the judge read the sentence, all I felt was tired. Melissa didn't cry when they cuffed her. She just looked at me once more, that same hollow expression on her face, and then she was gone. I thought that would be the end of it, but life doesn't tie itself up neatly when you're the one who got framed. Months later, even after the conviction, my reputation never fully healed. Some people still whispered, some still avoided me. My promotion at work got delayed until next cycle. One night, I ran into her sister at a grocery store. She froze when she saw me. Then, out of nowhere, she said quietly, she's in a bad place, you know. Jail changed her. I didn't know how to respond. She went on, She said she dreams about that night, that she sees herself standing at your door, and she can't stop crying in her sleep. I just nodded. I hope she gets help. Her sister frowned. That's it. No anger. There's nothing left to be angry about, I said. She already took everything she could. When I got home that night, I sat on the couch, the same one she'd once picked out, and finally watched the doorbell footage again from the very beginning. Her knocking, her trembling voice, her eyes glancing at the camera before she screamed. It hit me then, not as anger, not as fear, but as something else. A quiet recognition of how thin the line is between love and control, between needing someone and destroying them to keep them close. I deleted the footage that night, not because I forgave her, but because I was done letting that moment define me. People still ask sometimes, do you ever miss her? And my answer is always the same. No, but I remember her. Because sometimes remembering is enough punishment for both of us.